Hi, Twin Flames. So many of you are wondering, how can Divine Feminine reach their full abundance and clear like money blocks and get to their full potential when they're going through terrible ascension symptoms, they're going through heartbreak from their twin flame, and they're basically going through all the struggles that this journey presents. And it's a really great question because many of us won't be in those stages of abundance and full financial success whilst we're in the earlier stages of the journey. So I've said in other videos, and I'll say it again, it's almost like we need everything to collapse first before we can start attracting in what is in full alignment with our soul energy. So anything that was a match to you before was not actually a match for your true self. It was a match for your perceived self and your egoic self. So after ego death and after you have started the ascension process, you're going to draw in all of the things that are a match for your true self. And that does include abundance and finances and love and joy and peace. But it's kind of a process until we kind of get to that frequency. So as we are going through ascension and as we're going through like some terrible ascension symptoms, I know I had so many. I was exhausted all the time. I was crying all the time. I couldn't really get myself to work, so my finances took a hit. So when we're going through ascension symptoms, and they may be different for you, but I know many of us go through this where we just lose motivation, we lose the desire to go on. So as you're kind of going through that, I mean, how can you bring in joy and abundance when the last thing you feel like doing is smiling or laughing or going to work each day? And the truth is, when you're in that frequency and you're in that energy, you won't be a match for it because you're still in the healing parts of the journey. So you're still going through the breakdown of everything that isn't in alignment. And you shouldn't really be worried here because the divine is going to bring you everything you could ever want and more. It's just going to take a little bit of time for you to transition to that energy. So don't kind of try to expect, your full financial freedom and abundance and joy when you're still going through the healing process, when you're still letting go of past trauma, when you're still dealing with rejection or abandonment wounds triggered by your divine masculine. This is not the time really to be focusing on abundance. It's the time to be focusing on your healing. So once you've put the time and the effort into doing the inner work of this journey, and I know I treated it like a full-time job. I spent many hours a day consciously working on healing myself, working through all my trauma and, aligning to my highest self. And the beautiful thing is that everything that I lost, which was everything, everything that fell apart and dissolved, at the time I was fearful and I was scared that everything was collapsing. But what really happened was I ascended to a higher frequency by letting go of all of the trauma and all of the things that weren't a match to me anymore. And then as a byproduct, I suddenly attracted abundance. And, abundance isn't just money. It's a feeling of contentment and peace and joy. Maybe it's sharing love with your beautiful twin or high-level soulmate. Perhaps it's simple things like sitting in nature. Abundance to you is going to feel different than it might to me. So it's not just a money thing. It's not just a financial thing. But let's face it, financial freedom and a little bit of kind of stability is going to help you, vibrate higher. When you feel stable and secure and purposeful, you are going to see your masculine energy rise. So, money does come into that, but of course it's not that important really. What's important is feeling free and stable and living your best life. All right, I do talk about financial blocks and many of these things in my How to Get to Inner Union course. I do recommend checking that course out. It explains everything I did to reach unity consciousness It's a very powerful course. You don't have to do anything. All you have to do is watch it, and you will see some great results, because a lot of people are having some fantastic results from that course. All right, I hope that kind of put a little bit of an explanation on why you may not be seeing abundance yet or financial success yet. And the reason is, as I said, you've got to go through the stages of the journey. And some of the earlier stages don't attract abundance and joy and all of that yet, because you're still going through the collapsing part. You're still going through the transformation part. But as you start to ascend, and as you start to come out of the transformation and rise, that's when you're going to see that you become a magnet for everything that is in your heart. So everything that you truly want, including, like for me, I love helping other people. I love guiding people through this journey. That is my definition of abundance. So you will kind of have to figure out, what is your definition of abundance? What makes your soul shine? And start doing everything that is in alignment with that, and saying no to everything that isn't in alignment with that. Thank you so much for listening, and God bless.